Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am here with a Scrappy quilt block, a big one. This block should be able to be trimmed to about 13 inches square. That's pretty big. If you were to make 20 of them and sew them together 4 across by 5 down, you would end up with a quilt top of about, I'm looking at my notes here, 50 by 62. And of course, if you need it bigger than that, you just add border or extra rows of blocks. Let's just get jumping right into this. Oh, this block is Scrappy. It uses all different sizes, but I'm also going to show you how you can change each block as you go to make it even scrappier. This is a very good one for using up every print that you have in your stash. Do not worry about making things match. Mine happen to kind of go together, but that's just because that's the kind of fabric that I have in my personal little stash that I allow myself to use for tutorials. But ideally, you want to just be scrappy all the way and mix all kinds of things. You are going to need one 8-inch square. You are going to need 2 6.5-inch squares. You need one 5-inch square. So far, those are all sizes that I sell. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? For those of you who buy my stuff, you need 2 3.5-inch squares. I also sell that. You need 4 2-inch squares. You know I sell these. Like my favorite thing to sell. And then one thing that I don't sell, but you need one little, I'm going to call it a mini brick. I might start selling mini bricks. This is a 2 by 5-inch piece. That's what we need. All right, we're going to start by putting this together like in 5 separate pieces. Let's take our 2 3.5-inch squares and put those together. Let's put that aside. Now we are going to take 3 of our 2-inch squares and we're going to sew those in a straight line. So you just arrange them the way you want. And we are going to attach this to our 5-inch square. And we're going to put this aside. Grab your last 2-inch square and our mini brick. I really do want to make some mini bricks. I'm just not sure exactly what size. I need to think about that. I like to sell things that work well with something else. Meaning other things that I sell. This is going to get attached to one of the 6.5-inch squares. I'm going to go with that one. Now we are ready to build the block. We have all the parts we need. I thought I would show you on the table so you can see better and understand what I'm talking about. This is just one way to set this up. This, let's push it down a little bit. This is one row. You can lay it out like this. It's your 6.5-inch square that's plain, nothing attached. Then you have your 5-inch square with the little 3 2-inch squares. Then you have your 2 3.5-inch squares. You can lay it out like this. You could swap these two like this. You could put this in the center. You can flip these guys any way you want. You just can't put them sideways. So you just have a lot of options, and you can change each quilt block as you go. I'm going with this, this, and this. So that's my top of my block. For the bottom of the block, you have your 8-inch square, and then you have that other 6.5-inch that had this sewn to it. Now, I wanted my little corner on the outside, but I could have sewn that strip the other way. That's another thing you could have changed while you were doing this. And again, these have to go together, but this can be turned. It can be put over here. And when you sew these two together, you can sew them to this way, or you could move them on top, which would give it another whole look. But I'm going with this, and this. And these will be trimmed square. Now I know this looks wider. That's because we, have some seams to do there, and it'll match up. You do want to try to use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. All my math is done assuming you're going to be using a 1/4 of an inch. You don't have to worry about being perfect. We have wiggle room to trim. So I'm going to sew these 3 together, and then these 2 together, and then I'm going to put them together like that. Here is my top row. I'm going to sew these 3 pieces together. And like I said, if you're pretty good with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, these should all fall into place nicely. I love it. I have my top piece done. Now we are putting these 2 together. We are almost done. Now this goes on this. This was fun and easy, and look at the nice big block. Let me press it, trim it, I'll see you back at the table. I am very happy with how this came out. I really am. I love it. I wish mine was more scrappy. I wish I had like polka dots and flowers and squiggles and, just different colors. But this is cool too. I do think it would be really cool, like if you like blues, to, maybe have like, 20 different kinds of blue and, switching out your sizes. Like you can have one print this size, and then you can also repeat it somewhere else this size. You're just going to have fun figuring it all out. These, the 8-inch and the 6.5 inches, they're good for larger prints, but you don't have to do larger prints. And I'm happy with it. Oh yeah, so I was able to trim this to 13.5, and that makes sense because the finished size after they're put together would be 13 inches. So you should end up with a quilt top of about 52 wide by 65 long if you do 4 across, 5 down, 20 of these babies. This was quick and easy. You're mostly going to be spending your time cutting your squares unless you buy from me. I know many of my customers have all of these except for the mini brick. And I did want to mention, if you have 5-inch squares, charm pack leftovers, you can certainly, cut an inch off one side and then cut that bigger piece in half. That would give you a 2 by 5, and that would give you 2 of them, so you could use it in 2 different blocks. All right, you guys, I'm going to take some pictures. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe because I will be back with more soon. Bye.